Ever since Apple's WWDC event, everyone's been talking about Apple switching to their own ARM processors and wondering which Mac computers will be the first ones coming with custom Apple chips later this year. But people are forgetting that Apple also mentioned that there are still some great Intel-powered Macs in the pipeline.
And we still, as Tim said, we still got some Intel-based Macs to introduce, right, that we're super proud of. And this transition is going to take a couple of years.
And seeing as Apple's transition to their own ARM chips will be complete 2 years from now, we can only wonder which Macs will be the last ones ever to come with Intel chips. There were so many leaks and rumors pointing to Apple releasing a brand new iMac at WWDC, and quite a few people were sure of it, but it never happened. So I think Apple decided not to release it at the last minute. And I personally believe that that Mac is actually an Intel-based iMac, and I think it's coming within the next month. And yes, I completely agree with all of the leaks and rumors that a totally redesigned 24-inch iMac powered by a custom Apple chip is going to be coming at the end of the year. But I think the current 27-inch iMac is going to be refreshed one last time with an Intel chip, and it's gonna go out with a bang. So I'm gonna give you guys 5 reasons why I think a new Intel iMac is coming within the next month, and then we'll talk about which specs and features we should expect in this new iMac. But before we begin, I wanna mention that you can find our new Apple product pattern t-shirts in our merch shelf right below this video. It all started back in March when a reliable leaker, CoinX, tweeted out that a new iMac and Mac Mini are coming soon. Well, the Mac Mini was updated with more storage on March 18th, but obviously nothing happened to the iMac, so it could have been that Apple was planning to release it, but they delayed it for some reason. Now, the second reason why I think an iMac is coming soon is that on June 11th, Apple made regulatory filings to the EEC database for 9 iPhones and 1 desktop Mac, which is something that they are required to do every single time they ship a device with built-in encryption. And this usually means that a hardware release is coming soon. On October 25th of 2018, Apple made EEC filings for a few devices, including model numbers A2115 and A2116, which turned out to be the 2019 iMacs, which were released on March 19th of 2019. But this time there is only one model number instead of 2, so it could be that only one of the iMac sizes is gonna get updated, and this totally makes sense since we're expecting the 24-inch iMac powered by Apple's new ARM chip to come later this year. So Apple releasing a 27-inch Intel-based iMac within the next month would totally make sense. And that one Mac in the filing is noted as running macOS 10.15, and this small detail is very important because, as you all know, the upcoming macOS Big Sur is now actually macOS 11, which will be released this fall, so this points to this Mac releasing before the release of macOS Big Sur. Now, you might be wondering why I'm expecting this new iMac to be released within the next month, and that brings me to my third reason. On June 10th, the 27-inch iMac went completely out of stock for every single model, with a ship date of over 2 weeks later on June 25th, just 3 days after WWDC, pointing to a new iMac getting released at that event. But what makes it even more interesting is that as of right now, that ship date has slipped to July 13th on the base 27-inch model, and the higher end models are all the way out in August, which is completely the opposite of what you'd expect if something truly goes out of stock. And knowing that Apple is only releasing their ARM Macs closer to the end of the year, it would be insane for Apple to keep the 27-inch iMac out of stock for that many months. Unless, of course, they're planning to release a new model very soon, which would have to be an Intel-based iMac. Now on to my fourth reason. There were quite a few rumors and leaks pointing to a new iMac coming at WWDC. like John Prosser, who said an iMac was ready to ship, which obviously isn't the ARM Mac since we know it's coming at the end of the year. Sonny Dickinson also mentioned a new iMac coming at WWDC, but the important part about that rumor is that he mentioned the new iMac getting a T2 chip and an AMD Navi GPU. Now, I'm pretty positive that Apple's ARM Macs are gonna use their own custom graphics chips instead of using an AMD Navi GPU. And Apple even showed a slide during WWDC where it mentions a high-performance ARM GPU, meaning that they're not planning to use an AMD GPU on their ARM Macs. And on top of that, those new Macs are not gonna need the T2 chip because the new ARM chips are gonna take care of everything that the T2 chip used to do. So based on those two things, it seems like this iMac rumor that was supposed to drop at WWDC is actually an Intel-based iMac that Apple chose to delay. And this brings me to my final reason why we should expect a new Intel-based iMac within a month. A couple of months ago, Twitter user Rogame discovered some new code in macOS 10.15.4 Beta 1, which pointed to support for AMD's unreleased Navi 21 graphics cards, showing that Apple is planning to bring new AMD cards to a desktop Mac in the near future. And on top of that, Intel is already shipping 10th gen processors, including the i9 10900K, which would be perfect for a high-end 27-inch iMac. So if Apple were to release a new iMac with these new Intel processors and new AMD graphics cards, people would be all over it, even while knowing that Apple ARM chips are coming within the next 2 years. And as far as the specs, we should likely expect the Fusion drive to disappear in favor of SSD options. We should expect an upgrade to Bluetooth 5 and Wi-Fi 6 connectivity, support for Apple's 6K Pro Display XDR, and maybe even an option for 10 gigabit Ethernet. Now the final question is if this iMac will stick to the same 27-inch design or if it'll get smaller bezels to pack in a larger display, or maybe even a full redesign. And for that, I don't really know. But what I do know is that the chances of a new Intel-based iMac replacing the current 27-inch iMac within the next month are very high. But if you totally disagree with me, go ahead and comment your thoughts down below and be sure to check out our new t-shirts down in the merch shelf. Thanks for watching, click the circle above to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.